All right, everybody sound good? Everybody got white balance? Everybody good? Okay, Coach.
Okay. Obviously it feels good to get on the road and get the first conference victory. I felt like the past couple weeks we've been improving and gearing up and getting better in certain areas. Getting off to a fast start on the road for a 11 o'clock kickoff was something of importance for us, and we stressed that, and it was great to see. There were obviously some moments in there that are, just kind of sloppy. Whether it be a slip, we got stepped on, and right in a row, and it gets very, I don't want to say, concerning. It gets frustrating at times, and I think that's why you have a team. I think defensively played really well for the most part. Got a little out of sorts during a tempo at the end of that first half. Came out and set the tone early in the second half, though, and played really good football for the majority of the night. Again, some junk points and yards late, but really put it away. So really proud of the defense. Again, pretty solid special teams wise. Offensively, did some good things. Some of the same things have caught up to us again. Some, not non-efficient runs. Some negative yardage runs. Protection here or there. Maybe a drop, a missed throw, you name it, a little bit of each person. But those are things we could continue to work on and get better. And you go on the road and, win by 17, and for all intents and purposes had a chance to win by 24 on the road against a team that has a lot of pride, and so does ours. So does ours. They beat us a year ago, to their credit. And our players, I think, came out with a good mentality starting on Monday. And they come into this game with a good, strong mentality. And I know Vanderbilt and the way they're coached, and they lost a heartbreaker a week ago, and I know darn well they would come out and respond and play like they did, play tough and play hard. So, it's 1-0 in conference. Let's move on to the next.
Marcus, your offense is inconsistent. How beneficial is you've got four touchdowns now this year from defense or special teams? What kind of
It's very important, and I think we've done a nice job, and I think Brad, we've intentionally kind of been a little, I don't want to say more aggressive. We've always mixed things up. We've been more efficient, and I don't know what the third down situation was tonight. It's probably hard to tell when you're in prevent or, or when the game's on the line. I know early when the game was on the line, we played some pretty good football, for really the entire first half until those last couple drives. We got a little out of kilter there.
Mark, it seemed like things there for a while in the second half were starting to tense up.
Mm-hmm.
De'Eric gets that interception. Andrew takes it down deep and it kind of flipped everything. It almost seemed like it was like a weight off the shoulders with that play.
I think, fair. I mean, it was a big moment. I think what it might have been in a 13-point game at that point, or 11, 13, something. And, the pick was good. I mean, a stop was important at that point in time, let alone a turnover and setting it up. What were we in turnover ratio today? Positive side again? I mean, you guys know. What was it, 3-2? Yeah. We need to eliminate our 2, but I mean, turnover margin's a big deal, and I want to continue to be on the plus side of that. It's super important, as we get into this SEC play, and it's an area where I needed to improve. As we talked a lot about things to improve over a year ago, I felt like we're on the negative side of that, and we need to flip the script and be on the positive side of that. So the 3 turnovers were obviously huge for us defensively. We need to continue to clean it up and not turn
last year, Maxwell was in a tough spot, got thrown in, and they completed that long pass on him. This was a pretty good revenge performance.
Yeah, I think just experience and just playing, and he gets more and more confidence the more and more he plays. Both him and Andrew are really playing at a good level right now, and they're both doing some really good things, and so it's good for him.
How many guys have you coached with 2 pick sixes in the same game?
I know it's the first time in Kentucky school history. Probably not in mine.
You coached De'Eric to make that lateral situation?
No, that's playing ball. That was some good awareness, though. Yeah. Obviously possession was is hugely important at that point in time. But with nobody around him, and he had the opportunity to do that, that was a big play.
Mark, the offense at the beginning of the game found a good stride, and then
Mm-hmm.
there later in the second half. But there in the second and third quarter, struggling with some missed throws, some penalties. Does it worry you that the offense is struggling to put together 4 quarters? Is that something that?
Well, I mean, I'm not exactly ecstatic about it. I mean that's can I enjoy it for 5 minutes? No, 4-0, and I've been pissed off at every press conference. So I told the team that I'm not going to allow, I've said it to you guys before. I mean, you go on the road, you win by 17 points against a team I really respect, and I know that I know what we have ahead of us. And so we will improve. But, let's learn from it and again, continue to grow. I mean, there's some things in there that are, kind of for us are like, a little bit, like bewildering. Like, did that really just happen? Like, and we just got to get some things. And listen, if you all watch football, and I know you do, I mean, you see it across the board. You see it in the NFL, and they do it all day, every day, and you see it in college. And not that makes it okay, and not that it's an excuse. But, again, our players need to focus on the good things they're doing. They need to continue to stay with that really good, aggressive mentality they've had. They came into work last week on Monday ready to, whether you want to call it revenge or whatever, we know we need to play. You're going on the road to play in the SEC. I mean, let's step it up. And I think they're trying. We're trying. We're trying to be more detailed. We're trying to be more effective. And then there's things that happen. There's tip balls. There's holds. There's a lot of things to clean up. But if our mentality stays the way it is, I think good things will be ahead of us.
Mark, there were a couple of
At 4-0, what do you still not know about this team?
Well, I think being able to put it when the pressure's on for 4 quarters. You know what I mean? There's going to be games when, as we're stepping up, through the rest of the SEC. And I know what we're going to face, and that's a real challenge. But we have to embrace that. And when the game's on the line, to this point, our guys have stepped up and made plays. But we know. Competition changes as well.
Mark, there were a couple of drops mixed in, but Barry and Dane did seem to get it going today. How big was it to just get them back on track after last week?
It was good to see him get going, and that last was a big explosive play by Barry on that they reviewed, and he got it in, and it was good to see because we hit a little rut of frustration there, guys, and I think, if the nice thing, I think this team is unselfish. I mean, as a competitor, people get frustrated. You know what I mean? It's not so much not all me, but as a group. Offensively they could get frustrated because maybe it's a tip pass, maybe it's a drop, maybe it's a pressure. There's enough blame to go around. Everybody needs to concentrate on themselves.
You talked about mentality. I know like the aesthetic and the elements of today aren't ideal, but how much do you give credit to them for not letting that kind of throw off their game plan?
I talked about it on Monday. I told them what this situation was and told them we were going to be in temporary lockers. I told them that things are tore down. It's going to be a different stadium, with all the construction they have going on. And our guys didn't blink. They went into that structure over there and they came out and we started really hot. And I think, playing at 11 and being on the road and driving 3.5 hours, is not always a lot of fun. And our guys handled it really well.
Mark, John got the scoring started and Ray scored twice on the ground. What did you make kind of how the running game did?
It just a little inconsistent again. We popped some, the early one, the popping that big one was good. We got to look at it again and see where the negative yardage plays are coming up. And we, I would imagine, there's some movement involved there. We're working hard to get that cleaned up. We went to some gap schemes and some other, runs that could be more effective, and, right now some of our zone schemes have been inconsistent at best.
Mark, it seemed like a lot of guys were falling down today.
Yeah.
Was that a turf thing? Was that
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I practiced yesterday on grass, just because of our bus drive and their legs, and probably could have went out on our turf, but it is a little different. I think each surface is a little different.
Mark, you went back to Eli at center. Do you think, is that the way it's going to be moving forward, or you just have to see?
Yeah, we'll see. I do think we felt better about it as we worked through it last week at practice. I think a little bit more decisive in the continuity. I mean, he's done it, and we'll see how Jagger played at guard, and we'll have that flexibility. But it's hard for me to say. I mean, just You know, you saw it and I saw it, just inconsistent in the run game. This is probably the worst we've been in yards per attempt. I could almost guarantee that, right? 160 rushing. That's probably counting the sacks. Huh?
5.2.
5.2. We've been up around 6 or 7, right? Yeah, so still, it's not terrible. Yeah.
Mark, Devin had that tough series there in the middle where he had
Yeah.
fat and he dropped. Well, you can tell a lot from how somebody responds to something like that. How did he react to it?
Yeah, I think, you know, Devin wants to perform for his team. You know, I think, yeah, it was a rough couple series. You know, I think in that same little area, either before or after, he missed the throw as well. That compounds it. You know, he misses the throw, he slips, he steps on somebody's foot. You know, I think the nice thing for him is and everybody, we're just like, let's just settle down, you know, and get to the next possession. We are a team, you know, and defense went out and responded and got some big stops again when we needed it. And then that's what I think after that is when we got the ball on the 11 and we punched that in, and that was good to see and very helpful, you know. But I think, you know, to answer your question, I still have a ton of confidence in him. He's a guy that, you know, you're going to go through some tough times playing quarterback in the SEC. And, you know, he's resilient, and I don't think he can be rattled. That's not to say that he won't have some tough times, because he will. But
Okay, last
he'll
question.
bounce
Mark,
back.
I know
Thank you. I'm ready to go.
Okay.
I know the penalties have
Yeah.
to be maddening, but what does it say about your team that you can commit 10 of them and still win by 17? I'm not trying to get you out here on a negative note. But
Yeah, well, you did. Thank you. No, it was huge. You know, at one point, the one drive late where we scored, we overcame 3 hugely negative plays. Was it 2 holds and something else? Illegal man downfield. So I mean, we overcame you know, we converted a 3rd and 8. We overcame a 2nd and 20. We overcame a 2nd and 20 something, I think. And you know, and that says a lot. I'd like to, you know, not see that again. You know, I'd like them to even out someday. You know. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
I got 2 notes
All right.
before we bring Brad. Bye.
Okay,
Bye. Let's see. These are Tony.